Hi, everybody. Today, I wanted to tell you something I like to just come completely clean. For the past month and a half, 2 months, I have been in hiding. And you may have noticed because I have not been putting out in After Dark episodes on the Facebook group. I have not been putting out my podcast. That's like the ultimate sin is not putting out your podcast, right? So that's where I've been. And I wanted to just come and tell you guys, just kind of come clean about it, just shed all the shame about it and tell you what has been going on. And you know what's super interesting though? I just talked to someone that I met at Podcast Movement. And I was telling him about this. I was telling him after Podcast Movement, I came home and I was in this big funk. And he's like, me too. And I'm like, is this a thing? Like when you come back from a conference, you are so high, right? And then you just hit a low, you just hit a slump. And he and I were kind of going through the same thing for different reasons. But yeah, we both kind of got into a funk. And I'd be really curious to know if you've ever been on a conference or if you've been on a conference recently and this is how you felt. Let me know. Like you can come and leave me a comment here wherever you're listening. You can leave a review for the podcast. You can just come to a Facebook group and talk to me. Is this a thing? Do you know of this being a thing? So this is what has been happening. This is what came up for me, guys. And this is why I'm talking to you guys today, right? So this is what I kind of want to comment because everything that happens for a reason. I want to make sure that there's a valuable lesson for everybody out there when I'm going through stuff. And when I was going through this funk, if anybody had asked me, hey, Ina, why haven't you published a podcast episode yet? I would have told you, well, it's because my computer broke, which is true. I know it sounds like the dog ate my homework, but it was totally true. My computer broke and I actually got a new computer, which I'm actually recording this video on. Brand new computer. Very excited. My computer broke because I tend to drop my computer on the floor a lot. I don't know why. I don't do it intentionally, but it happens. And it started to break on the side where the fan is. So the fan wasn't working anymore. And if your computer fan is not working, your computer is going to overheat and just shut off after 5 minutes. So there was no way for me to edit a podcast episode, let alone render it. Because when you render an episode, you have to wait like an hour for it to render. Actually, not podcast episode, videos. With videos, I couldn't do that. So yeah, there was no way for me to edit my podcast episode in just 5 minutes. It wasn't going to happen. So I needed a new computer. So I went off to Podcast Movement and I borrowed one of my husband's computers. He has a whole bunch. We're computer folk. We're like an IT family, information technology family. So he gave me a computer to use at Podcast Movement, which was this little one that was running Linux on it. If you don't know what Linux is, I envy you. Linux is another operating system like Mac OS or like Windows. There's Linux. So it's a completely different one that nothing works on because, it's open source. It's supported by the whole world rather than there being like products that get released for it. So I can't edit my podcast there. I can't do anything with it, but at least it worked while I was away. And I thought to myself, okay, September is going to be a good month. I'm going to get back into the groove. My son is going back to school. So my schedule is going to normalize. Everything is going to be great. But in the meantime, I'm going through this I've recorded like 3 episodes and I'm not publishing them. Why? And this is where I get into what I wanted to tell you about today. If you feel stuck, like I did, right? If you feel stuck, like things are not moving, like you feel like week after week is passing by and nothing is changing, right? Tell me you don't feel this way, that you set out to work on whatever it is, on your side business, on your hobby, on your Facebook group, whatever it is that you really want to work on this one thing. And then Monday comes on and you're like, yes, let's do this. But then by the time Friday rolls along, you realize that you procrastinated more than you did work and nothing happened. So then you're like, okay, next week I'll do it. And next week I'll do it. And next week I'll do it. And then before you know it, it's been 2 months and you haven't published a podcast episode. What is happening? Is it really that your computer broke? Is it really that, you've been traveling, right? Because you were only traveling for like a week, Ina. Like, That's not really an excuse. Is it because you've been busy? Sure, I've been busy. I've had meetings. I have a corporate partnership that I'm working on. I have classes that I'm teaching in the area. So like, yes, I've been busy. Okay? So I could come and tell myself these things and be like, I've just been busy and my computer broke and that's why. So back off. I could totally say that stuff to myself, but why would I do that? That doesn't get us anywhere. Now, I give you full permission to feed other people crap because it's none of their business, right? Like if somebody came and asked me, hey, Ina, you're teaching in your classes that consistency is key to the success of a podcast. Why aren't you publishing your episodes consistently? I should be able to say, you know what? I have been busy, right? I should be able to say that. And I give you permission to, okay? Feed other people crap. That is okay. But feeding yourself crap, that's what's not okay. So when I think about this stuff, I don't think, well, I've been busy and my computer broke. I really gotta dig deeper because if all that stuff was true, it would totally excuse what I've been doing, what I've not been doing. It would totally excuse it and those feelings would go away. But they don't. Whenever I think about, oh my God, I haven't published a podcast episode yet, when I say to myself, I've been busy, I don't feel better. The anxiety doesn't go away. And that's because I know that I'm just procrastinating. I know that being busy is an excuse. So don't feed yourself crap. Don't buy your own crap. One of the things that sets us apart from the rest of the world as entrepreneurs, doing something as hard as putting a business together and putting yourself out there, right? When we do these things, we're doing things that are so hard that other people just don't do it, right? What sets us apart and what makes it possible for us to continue down this line and to never stop is self-awareness, okay? Self-awareness is key. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can't be feeding yourself the same stories. You have to take a real deep look at yourself and say like, is that really how I feel? Because if you don't address these things now, they are going to keep popping up. And if these things are stopping you from starting at all, imagine once you have a business, once you have clients and you're like me, right? And you find something that you're fearful of and you stop. You stop publishing episodes. You stop inviting people to get on calls with you and your business starts to go downhill. Right? So I can't afford to have this hang up and not address it. And neither can you. So especially if you're just starting out and you really want to get this thing moving, you got to start to be self-aware first. So in this episode, I wanted to tell you about the one question that you should be asking yourself every single day that is going to get you unstuck. It just happens. It's like pop. It's like popping the top off. Right? So the status quo is you just tell yourself your own story, right? I've been busy. My computer broke. I've been doing other things that are more important, right? This has not been a high priority. I could just continue to feed myself that stuff. Or I can ask myself this one question. Are you guys ready for it? The one question is, what are you hiding from this week? And I'm going to break here and tell you this, I didn't make this up. This came from my mentor, Dr. Gladys Otto, ATO. Dr. Gladys Otto. If you're not following her, she is magical. All right? This is something that she noticed in the mastermind that she led, that I was part of, right? She noticed that there were things that we were coming out and saying like, well, I really need to do this, but I really got to do this other thing. And, I just haven't had time. We were just feeding her crap. And she's like, don't feed me crap, this is a safe space. You should be able to really speak freely. So she came up with this question that we had to answer every single week, which was, what are you hiding from today? All right. Or what are you hiding from this week? And guess what? That question is really easy to answer because chances are you already know what you're hiding from. Okay. I don't even have to finish saying that sentence before you go yeah. I know exactly what I'm hiding from. And you may have not figured out why. So I'm going to give you a couple more steps, okay? I'm not just going to leave you with a question and just leave, okay? Leave you hanging. I'm going to tell you what you think about next, okay? So You ask yourself that question, and I'm going to do it in my own exercise, okay? What are you hiding from this week? I am hiding from releasing my podcast. So here are the two things you need to do after you've come up with the answer to that question. The next step is to ask yourself, why are you hiding from that thing? Okay? Feel free to brainstorm, and the first three things are going to be crap. So discard the first three things that you're going to say. I've been busy. Other things have taken priority. My computer broke, right? Discard those first three things. They are crap. Do not feed yourself your own crap. What is that fourth thing? Okay, if I really have to dig deeper, I am afraid of publishing my podcast and it not being good enough. Now, where does this come from? I have published over 50 episodes on my podcast. Why all of a sudden I'm feeling like my podcast is not good enough? Well, let's dig in a little deeper. I just got back from rubbing elbows with millionaires at a retreat in Colombia, right? That I actually told you guys about, and you can go and check out on the In After Dark episodes on the Facebook group. All right. That was a transformational experience for me, to see where I could be if I just focus, if I never quit, if I do all the right things. I saw where I could be. And then after I got back from that retreat, a few weeks later, I went out to Podcast Movement, where I again rubbed shoulders with other people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just on their podcasts. So I'm here looking at all of these people who are so accomplished. And I went to this Podcast Movement conference where I learned so much about the structure of a podcast, about how to make it really grabby, about how to use the first 60 seconds so people will want to continue to listen, right? I walked away with so much information that I wanted to enact, that I wanted to put in place for my podcast, that I started to get really scared that, wait a minute, my podcast doesn't follow all those rules right now. So is it good enough? So we started with question number 1, which was, what are you hiding from this week? Answer that for yourself. I am hiding from publishing my podcast. The next question is, why are you hiding from it? Because I'm afraid that it won't be good enough. I am afraid of failure. Okay? So is this where it stops? Hardly, right? I'm not just going to tell myself, hey, you're hiding and you're afraid. See ya. I need to get over it somehow, right? Here's the third thing you do, okay? The next step that you take, this is the final step. Actually, the final step is to actually take action. This is the final thing you do so you can get up and take action. So let's see. I am hiding from publishing my podcast because I am afraid that it won't be good enough. And the third question is, what do you want most? 2 options, A and B. A, do you want to hang on to that fear, all right? And give yourself that excuse and make you feel better and validate yourself that, yes, this is hard, that, yes, your podcast is not there yet, right? Do you want to hang on to that fear? Or B, what you're doing, your mission in life, your business, your vision for where you want your life to be, or do you want that? Which one is more important? That vision or hanging on to that fear? Which one is preferable? When you put it out there as an option for yourself, it feels much different, right? Because I'm looking at, okay, am I going to let this stop me? Am I going to be talking to someone 30 years down the line and listen back to this moment where I said to myself, I'm just too scared and it's not going to measure up anyway. And 30 years later, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be. Or do I want to be talking to someone 30 years from now and tell them those moments, because by the way, this is not the only or the last one, those moments where I felt like quitting, where I wasn't pulling my weight, where I wasn't doing the work, I worked through it with this method And I kept on moving. So once I realized this, once I went through these 3 steps, I said, my vision is much more important than me scratching this itch, than me just making myself feel better about this really big, scary world of podcasting and not being good enough. My vision is more important. And you know what? I'm going to do as I preach, and I'm going to publish my episodes. So I'm here to tell you guys, my podcast episodes are going to start getting published on a weekly basis. Every Wednesday, you can expect my podcasts. This is my vow. I'm not feeding myself crap. I'm telling you guys and telling myself, every episode is going to go out every Wednesday without fail, and it's going to be there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to push through this fear that I've had. And this is going to happen. I'm going to allocate the time, and I'm going to get this thing done. Now, I'm not doing any more research. I'm not going to stall anymore. I'm not going to think of anything else. I'm not going to be talking to people about how I feel. I'm just going to sit down and do. Who's with me? I need you guys on this wagon with me. You got to be self-aware, because these problems are going to continue to pop up. They don't disappear once you make your first $1,000. Or your first 10,000, or your first 100,000. It doesn't disappear, okay? They keep popping up, and you don't want it to stop you when you're much more successful, right? These things are going to pop up a lot more frequently now, and then less so and less so and less so, but they're never gonna go away. So let's do this now. Those 3 steps, do them every day. You feel stuck, do these things, do them truthfully, they will get you unstuck. So to help you guys, because I'm here to help, all right? I want you guys to be on board with me. I created a poll in the group, and it looks like we have a clear winner. So I have this itch to do a masterclass. I want to come and teach you guys something, because guess what? 2019 is almost over, right? Can you believe it? We're already in the 4th quarter, almost, right? Almost in the 4th quarter. 2019 is about to go away. But I want you guys to start to get wins now, to start taking action now. I don't want you guys to think like, well, New Year's resolution, right? I'll just do that next year. I'll join Ina's program next year, which you probably should anyway. But like right now, for the next 3 months, I want to give you a lot of really good information so you guys can get started now. You don't have to wait until January. So I'm going to be teaching a masterclass September 26, 2019 at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in my Facebook group, inacoveney.com/Facebook. That's how you get there. And we are going to talk about, by the way, this is a popular, by popular demand, a popular demand request, which is for me to teach you how to start a business in a saturated environment. All right. If you feel like you have a business idea that is already done and overdone, and there's so many people out there to choose from, why would people choose you? How can you stand out there? How can you actually create a business, let alone replace your salary with something that is oversaturated, right? In a market that is oversaturated. I'm going to tell you how. So come to this class. For everybody who's listening on the Facebook group, you guys are already in here. That is awesome. You guys who are listening on YouTube, on the podcast, go to inacoveney.com/masterclass. But you have to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. If you go there, there's a video of me introducing you. It tells you the date. It gives you the link to add to the calendar, to add it to your Google Calendar. And it gives you the link to the Facebook group to go and join. All right. And if you give me your information, because there's going to be a form in there too. If you sign up for this masterclass, you'll actually get the email reminders and the replay links at the end. And any, if I create a worksheet, which I haven't figured out if I'm going to do yet, but if I do any freebie that comes with it, only people who are signed up are going to get it. So now you know what to do. inacoveney.com/masterclass. Get in there. I will see you in the group, and I will see you on September 26th, and we'll figure out how to get you started if the environment is already saturated. Okay? You guys go with it? Sounds great. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.